Hi there. I'm Tercy Engelhardt, and I want to take a moment and welcome you not only to the second episode of 2024, but also to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast in general. So, as it turns out, let's see, I think my husband started not feeling well between Christmas and New Year's. And then shortly after New Year, I began to not feel great. And we're just now really returning to, I would say, 90% of our health. And so I want to, I have somebody who edits this for me, and I want to thank you for your patience in this process. They were really great about moving up my Christmas and New Year's episode and now kind of catching up because I didn't record for a couple of weeks because it actually didn't sound that great. Anyway, welcome to 2024. I'm excited to see what this year opens up for all of us. I actually have a new microphone, which I'm very excited about. So I'm hoping that this sounds amazing. And I'm actually in a new location. I'm in the office today because our cabin's done, which and we moved into, and we're getting ready to get into the very, very cold weather of -8 degrees coming up. We now have snow. This is the second day that my husband and I have done a little cross country skiing. But anyway, aside from all of that, welcome to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast. And I want to say something about being unreasonably grateful. It's about gratitude no matter what. It doesn't matter what might be going on in your life or what isn't going on in your life, but being grateful regardless of the circumstances. And it's something that we can learn to generate for ourselves. And, sometimes people say to me, well, what do you do with your sad feelings? Or what do you do when you're angry or disappointed or upset? And I'm actually going to explore that with you this month. But basically, I feel them. I just don't stay stuck in them because I'd much rather live in the state of grace. We actually do have access to grace through practicing being grateful. And no matter what's going on in our lives, I want you to consider that there's always, 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 always something you can be grateful for. I know recently for myself, I always sleep well. However, I had a couple of really horrible nights early on and not feeling well. And then as soon as I had a great night's sleep, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the best thing ever. And sometimes it is that contrast that helps us appreciate what we may easily take for granted. So, a reminder, I simply share stories in this particular podcast, stories from my life. Some of them are tidbits of wisdom that I've gleaned over what's going to be this year, 39 years of recovery from living an addictive lifestyle for 20 years, healing from sexual abuse as a teenager, and 20 years of an eating disorder before I actually told the truth, and began my personal journey of healing and recovery and faith and all of the things that go along with that. So some of those wisdom notes they're just true for all of us. They're helpful, they're supportive. And so sharing those, oftentimes you'll hear something that you haven't heard before, or maybe you just haven't heard it in that same way before. And this time it resonates, it goes in and it clicks for you and gives you a little more freedom or supports your growth process. It's like a new stepping stone in the process of discovering more of who you are and who you're designed to be so that you can actually be up to utilizing your gifts and your skills and your talents and living a heart-based life. So anyway, I don't have your answers. I always say that you do. But oftentimes when other people share their journey, we get some answers for ourselves out of just listening. So again, welcome, 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 welcome. I'm grateful that you're here, whether you're brand new or whether you've been with me now for a few years. I'm always, always grateful when I see or I begin to understand who are the people who are actually listening. And yeah, happy to share my journey with you and honored that you share your journey with me. Okay, so this particular episode's called The Rebellious Act of Slowing Down. Now, sometimes we're forced to slow down, as in we don't feel well. So certainly I had a few weeks here of slowing down. And one of the first things I noticed is I needed more sleep. And I also had a more powerful connection to the divine. In the middle of the night, I would wake up, whether it was because I couldn't breathe or whether it was because I needed to go to the bathroom or whatever it was. And I would have this reoccurring connection with what I call Jesus, the divine God, whatever your expression is of that unconditional love that guides us, created us, and is always there for us. And I found myself hungry for it, grateful for it, feeling like, wow, this is the best part of not feeling well, is the reminder of how important it is to slow down and to listen, to let there be stillness and quiet. And so a few years ago, maybe a therapist said to me, slowing down is, it's a rebellious act. And at first I was like, really? And if you think about it, or just try it, you'll see how rebellious it is. Now I'm consistently aware of it now, feeling better. The demands of my schedule are more, even though I still milked cows and still made cheese and still collected eggs. There's just more expected of me. I expect more of myself. And so I find myself filling up some of that time that before I just moved through those acts or actions more slowly. We're also in winter, so we have shorter days, especially living this far north. And, a lot of snow right now. So we walk slower, we move slower. And I notice that I'm irritated when I'm pushed to go faster. And rather than let myself become irritated, I look and see what's the source of the pushing. Do I need to shift how I schedule myself? Do I need to let other people know what they can or can't expect of me? Is there something I need to communicate? How do I need to take care of myself in order to allow myself to move through my day at a pace that feels more in alignment with who I am and more connected to that divine presence all the time? So it's not just in those wee hours of the morning, but consistently I feel a deeper connection to Jesus, a deeper connection to the God who created me, a deeper connection to the source of every breath that I take. What's the pace of life that I need to live by in order to not diminish and, in fact, to enhance that divine connection? So this week, I invite you, try it. See what happens when you begin to slow down. See how the response is around you. See how your internal response is, the expectations you have of yourself, and the speed through which you think you should be moving. And see if you can't go ahead and be a rebel. Be a rebel this week and really take your time and slow down. And I'll see you next week.